I'm going to be defending Chapman Guitars today. Bet you didn't see that one coming. Back in November, I made a video covering the latest of multiple attempts from Chapman to make UK-made guitars. For 2 months, all was quiet on the topic, and then the news broke. The news being this statement from Chapman Guitars. We've recently been made aware that it's looking unlikely that UK guitar builders, UKGB, will be able to fulfill any more orders for the companies it supplies, including Chapman UK Workshop Series. We believe a full statement from UKGB is coming soon. Fortunately, we're already in dialogue with an alternative, experienced, high-end guitar builder with a view to being able to resume production in the next 4 to 6 weeks. All customers with orders placed for UK Chapman Guitars have been informed and offered the option to wait or cancel and have deposits refunded. At this time, we would just like to wish all the staff at UKGB the best for the future and reassure everyone that the Chapman Workshop Series production will resume as soon as possible. As Chapman were the first company to break this news publicly, it became Chapman Guitars News, even though they were just one of several parties that this affected. It gained several articles and YouTube videos about the topic, but it was just one small part of a much bigger story. Instead of the headline, Chapman Guitars' UK built range has been delayed again, I believe the headline should have read, UK's biggest guitar factory closes down. Because that's what happened. And it's really not good news. There aren't a huge amount of builders in the UK, the majority of which are one-man operations, and a factory of this size closing down, it isn't good. It meant that 26 people lost their jobs, and this also affected a number of different guitar brands. So who did this factory build for, and how are they being affected? I reached out to a number of different brands that I knew were being built in this factory and asked for comment, and here's a brief overview. Seth Baccus Guitars. Only 2 of his Shoreline models were being built in the UKGB factory. Those team-built guitars were then worked on by Seth in his Cornish workshop for final detailing and setup. He will continue to make the Shoreline models in his own workshop in Cornwall. So that's somewhat good news. It's not a huge hit and the guitars will continue to be made. Cream Tea Guitars. I attempted to make contact multiple times with this brand. I didn't hear anything back. PJD Guitars. Now, a very easy and common mistake made by many people, including myself, was thinking that UKGB and PJD were the same thing. They're not. They're different entities. PJD is a guitar brand, UKGB is a guitar factory. They are different. So I reached out to Lee, the founder of PJD, to ask about the continuation of PJD, and he said this. PJD is a completely separate entity from UKGB and will continue as a company and brand. It's something that's very close to my heart, and for me personally, I want to continue to offer hand-built guitars that are affordable. Now, I read out Chapman Guitars' public statement a little bit earlier, but I have secured an exclusive statement that just expands a little bit more on some of the points pertaining to the future of their UK Workshop Series. The main concern I could see for potential buyers reading that initial public statement would be thinking that the line would be rushed forward in 4 to 6 weeks, which isn't a whole lot of time. But after speaking with Chapman, just to clarify here after the fact, when I say I was speaking with Chapman, I mean I was speaking with a Chapman Guitars representative, not Rob Chapman. It was made clear that they already have a pre-existing working relationship with the new builder that they're going to, and they're not really starting from scratch either, because they already have the CNC CAD files for the design of the guitars, so that process of design has already been done and is ready. The bulk of time spent working with UKGB was in development, designing, prototyping and finalising the specs, including our pickups, hardware and finishes for the ML1X. We're in possession of the final design files and have finished models as reference points. Therefore, it's straightforward to transfer this design to a new experienced builder who we already have a working relationship with. The new factory has confirmed their availability for March to do an initial build and will fully check the quality is equal to that of the first run of ML1Xs. We've spoken to all the customers with custom shop orders, and they'll be the first to know about the new factory and production times. We've also given full refunds where requested. We're not taking any deposits for new orders until we're 100% happy with the new build. So what about the UKGB factory itself? Well, the UK Guitar Builders company is in liquidation, and all the assets, which I assume are, tools, machinery, any stock of wood, has been sold to Auden, which are the company that own Gordon Smith Guitars. I am delighted to announce that the Auden Musical Instrument Company Limited, Auden Guitars / Gordon Smith Guitars, this week has completed the purchase of the assets of UK Guitar Builders Limited in liquidation and has started the process of relocating all plant machinery and material stocks into a new Northamptonshire workshop. This is the first stage of an exciting new project for both brands and British guitar building, of which more details will follow soon. Stay tuned. So there is a silver lining to this. Out of the ashes of the UKGB factory, we are going to see a new UK guitar factory coming out of that. But at the same time, they've also said that they're not picking up where the UKGB factory left off with the UKGB brand. So they're not building any of those. Now, in relation to Chapman, when this news broke first, and it was broken by Chapman, I saw a couple of theories that this factory closed because of Chapman. It was their fault. It wasn't. They just contracted a builder to build guitars to order. So whether there was one guitar or 100 guitars, it very likely would not have changed the fate of this guitar factory. Look at me defending Chapman Guitars. I know. But let's look at some of the difficulties they're now going to face as well. The first is probably reputational. This will go down as another attempt on the list of attempts of UK-built Chapmans. It also kind of renders the promo video that they made to promote the Workshop series line kind of defunct now because they're not the same guitars. So when they get the new ones, they're probably going to have to do all that promo again, the pictures and all of that to sell these new ones. The level of scrutiny that Chapman got, or at least the level of attention that they got from this, kind of was their fault. They were the first brand to break the news, and they were talking about it publicly when no other brand that was affected did. So it took all the attention that kind of should have been on, UK's biggest guitar factory closes down, and it became Chapman news. I do understand why they did it though. Chapman breaking the news is still a lot better for them than me breaking the news. And make no mistake, I was going to break the news. One day prior to Chapman's public statement, I received an anonymous tip-off that the factory had closed. And because of its anonymous nature, I had to spend some time to try and verify this information before publishing it. And by that time, Chapman had already released their public statement. So while Chapman's announcement did somewhat backfire on them, it was still arguably better than not saying it and me releasing it first. But to summarize, this isn't good news. I don't like seeing a guitar factory close, and you shouldn't either. It's not good for anyone. And while it is Chapman Guitars news, I feel as if it's been blown a bit out of proportion, because as far as the brands that are built in that factory go, Chapman are probably the least affected. They still have guitars made in Indonesia and Korea. That's their bread and butter. So there are other brands that had their whole line built in this factory, and that's not good to see for them. So anyway, that's the video. Thanks for watching. Like it if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to subscribe. Bye bye!